Good afternoon, grade 4. Our lesson today will be about resources. The objective of this lesson is to understand very well the difference between the renewable and non-renewable resource. Renewable, it means that we can renew it again. Non-renewable, it means that it's not available for a long term. A resource is something that occurs in our environment that we can use, and it is there in our environment. Natural resources such as the water, the air, the plants, and the animals either can grow or occur in our environment. That's why we call them natural resources. They can be, and they can come from living things or non-living things. Just pay attention, when I say non-living things, I'm talking about, for example, the soil, the land, the water, the air, metals. They are not living things, but they are resources anyway. Living things include the trees. They can give us fruits. The plants like vegetables, the birds, the fish, and other animals. All of them, they are living things because they can breathe and they can grow. On the other hand, in this slide, we can see some elements that are not renewable, like, for example, the rocks. The soil is not a renewable resource. There's also something, and not living, they are as well not living things. The water is not also a living thing. It's not a living thing. The air is not a living thing, etc. But when I talk about the trees, for example, they are living things. So we have to pay attention about the differences between living and non-living things. There is also something very important to know. Renewable resources will not run out. That's why we call them renewable. They are always there, like the sunlight, the air, the wind. They are always there, no matter how much of these resources get used. There's always more availability. So they are available. Those resources are used, for example, to produce energy, and especially electricity. When I say energy, electricity is always there to remind us about the meaning of energy. We can just apply the solar panel, the wind turbine, and the water turbine, just in order to produce this energy. In these slides below, we can find an illustration that can remind us visually how the sun energy, the sun system can give us energy to produce electricity. So this is a simple idea that we can just remember. In the other two, we can see the importance of the wind in the production of energy, and we can see that obviously here. And the importance of the waterfalls, for example, or the water energy. The water to produce energy as well. So this is a simple idea that we have to take in consideration. One of the most important ideas that we should mention in this lesson is, however, many of our resources are non-renewable as well. For example, we can talk about trees, because they are not renewable, the coal, and of course we have to talk about the oil, and this is something very important. When we cut trees, and this is the process of deforestation, actually we are losing them for a very long time, and they are not that renewable for short terms. They need years and 3 years to be renewed. We are doing this, of course, to use wood, but actually we can substitute the usage of wood with something else instead of cutting trees most of the time. Deforestation, actually, it's not only the disastrous waste of trees that needs a very long time to be renewable later, but it is important as well for the quality of the air, because, as you know, the trees are there for the change of the carbon dioxide and the oxygen, and when we cut the trees, so we don't have this balance in the air anymore, and the quantity of carbon dioxide will be too much more than the oxygen, and it will affect the air. This is what we call the air pollution because of deforestation. There's something also very important when we talk about the oil that we are extracting, for example, from the underground. This extraction, most of the time, it's excessive, and we are using excessively the oil by using a big amount of cars or buses or airplanes because we are burning fuel. So we are also leading for an air pollution, and in the other hand, we are running out of stock of oil underground. That's why in some countries they advance with the public transportation system, is always there required in order to minimize our consumption of that natural resource, which is the oil. So once we are using the oil excessively, we have to be aware that this is a non-renewable resource, and it needs years and years, sometimes 100 or 1,000 of years to be renewed. But for short term, it's considered as non-renewable. Well, this lesson is just to make you understand the difference between the renewable resources and the non-renewable resources. The examples are practically in front of you in the environment, and it's very easy to decipher. Good luck, grade 4.